Good morning, everybody. Sorry for the couple-minute delay. If you are here, go ahead and tell me in the comments. Say hello, say you're here. Getting my notes all set up so I can look at them and look at you. It's like so cool. I'm super fancy. Jacqueline's here. Say hello, guys. If you're on, say hello. If you're watching the replay, let us know that you're here. Angela, hey, Angela. I just let her into the group this morning. I didn't know if you'd be on live. I love having you here. This is so great. So I'm going to get right into it today because there's a lot to cover, and there is, hey, Danielle, a lot to cover, a lot of amazing things. Get out your notepad, get the kids situated, because I know that these concepts are things that took time for me to integrate. So you may hear some things today that you've heard before. Okay, but I hope that the context in which I share is going to help you to be able to go, oh, I see this. I see this happening in my life. I see this happening over here with the different context. Because Marcy's here. Hey, I don't know if I've seen you on live. Maybe once or twice. Because how many times have we read all the books? We read all the books. We have attended seminars and we have taken notes and we've set commitments and we've done these things. And then somehow a whole year later, when the seminar is offered again, the book pops up again. We're like, yeah, I knew about that. How come nothing changed for me? Because who here has read books about financial abundance? Who here has maybe done a program about finances, and yet your financial situation isn't like moving a ton? Okay. This was my situation. Okay. And I want to share some things that play into that. And I know that the people that join this group are here to hear it from me. I believe I don't come into your lives uninvited. I believe that if I came across your feed or if we messaged you in like the algorithm, whatever you could say, but I believe that people come onto our path to help us with something that we are ready to learn should we choose to take the opportunity. Okay. I want to share that I grew up inside of a scarcity mindset home. And my parents were fab, beautiful, wonderful. I love them deeply. But our growing up years is where we identify our initial value system. And that comes from what we heard, how secure we were, what we were modeled. Like all of that happens before age 7. So we always want, if we're struggling with something in adulthood, many times it's because we're trying to do something as an adult working off of a childhood belief system that has not had experience and context. It's really important that we learn to be okay with experimentation, that we record what's happening, and so that our adult brain can then reintegrate and say, this is what we thought, this is what we know now, I will now take a different action. That's why when I put up that image, I'm like, guys, this is our thoughts. When I put up that post about this class. So I grew up in a scarcity mindset home where I'll explain a little bit of what that's like in a few minutes, but I also want to share that my husband did as well. So there's a lot of generational energy at play from what I've had to work through over the years. A lot of generational energy from my grandparents, my great-grandparents. Like there's not, back to the Mayflower is where abundance within my family stopped. And that was okay, right? That was, guys, 1600s here. Like, come on. But I have traced that back, and that's very interesting to me. So if you would like to do your family history, it will give you insight to where you come from and the kind of ideas that are literally ingrained in your very DNA. Go Google generational energy and learn about it. So sharing that is the purpose is to let you know that I didn't have modeling about financial abundance. I didn't have words said around me in family circles anywhere in my community. I didn't have anything that talked about how to like have more money flow. And in fact, so I didn't have the tools. My husband didn't have the tools either. All we knew is that you had to pay your bills or you got in trouble. Like, that was the basic of our financial training. And we knew money was hard. That's what we knew in that time. Money is hard. Money is a hard thing. You sacrifice for it. And with that came with, this is what was modeled to me through conversations, through attitudes that I saw from my parents, that people that had money were somehow people we didn't associate with. I still to this day would love to dig into, some of my parents' and grandparents' history and wonder why that is. It was like people that were super abundantly, wealthy financially were like untouchable or something. Like they wouldn't want to associate with us. I don't know what the whole thing is. I just knew that. And in my belief system as a child, growing up in a very strong Christian community where like everybody on the outside believed the same thing. And so when I saw my mom and dad have these attitudes about, well, those people are so wealthy, like they're separated or something, I was also seeing an attitude from my parents that if people didn't believe the same way that we did, we didn't associate with them. So my childhood brain, guys, I've done all this work. It's awesome work. But my childhood brain then put those associations together and said, oh, and my parents never said these words. This was my own creation. That if we don't associate with rich people, then maybe rich people are bad. Just like how we don't associate with people outside our religion. Like, I just put that together. My mom and dad never said rich people are bad or people with financial abundance aren't righteous. They never said those words, but I put it together going, oh, we don't do that this way. We don't do that this way. They must be connected. Anybody else grow up with an idea that maybe wealthy people were dishonest or wealthy people were just not, I don't know. Maybe I'm totally alone in this, but I've spoken to people that have also shared that narrative was maybe projected by their parents or, so I'm just sharing where I came from. One of the other belief systems that I had, Carla, I thought they were better than us, like this whole judgment thing, right? I also learned that because money came from hard work, if you didn't have money, maybe you were lazy or like you had to qualify for money. You had to like be worthy for money. Like I put all these words together in a young childhood and then through my teen years and getting my first jobs, like I was forming all of this through the years, right? We all do this. And if anything's coming to your mind, take notes. If you've come to this call with an open mind to learn, you are going to receive downloads from the intelligence with which you've set your intention that you're going to learn something different. Take notes. Like seriously, take notes, okay? Get real with what you believed because that will help you to dismantle what's going on. So, I didn't have any other ideologies around money. Like it was just kind of like, it was untouchable. It was hard. You had to qualify for this. That was it. But what's really interesting about this is I grew up in a Christian community. And as I read and study the scriptures, I'm talking Old New Testament, like it is full of Jesus Christ teaching that about wealth, about money growth. His promise that I can have anything I desire. It's already here for me to choose. It's throughout the scriptures. And so as I've studied and grown in that way, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. This idea that money is so hard, these ideas that I have to qualify, these ideas that wealthy people somehow did, I don't know. It's really started to break it down for me. And when things start to not make sense, that's when our belief system starts to dissolve. And it's been an incredible journey, super, super incredible. I love all the comments you guys are sharing. These are really, really, really good. Let it out, share. So here we go. I want to share with you the 3 things that I have identified are the top. I say the top because I'm sure that if I thought about this for another week really intently, a couple things might come through too. So that's why I was like, the top 3 things I can identify right away that I know have shifted things. Because our income, we've always, you look at that graph I posted, the first 4 years, guys, we were in college. There wasn't a lot of income flow. And then my husband got his first job, and you can see where it kind of fluctuated. But these last 3 years, things shifted greatly. And what's interesting is the thing that it's not about my coach right now, because I've heard everything she talks about in other circles. But the last 3 years, I had a mindset coach that was just phenomenal at helping to gently guide me to unlock these belief systems and dismantle them. And a lot of the skills I've learned about that is what I've put into the Elevated Mother Experience program. So just know that those skills, that experience I went through, I have done the training, I have done a lot of work to be able to bring that to other people that are ready, because I know, I had to be ready over these years. It's I am so ready. I am so ready to change. So who is ready to learn the top 3? Tell me in the chat. Say I'm ready. I got my pen. I am so ready to learn these things. I want to know this information. I want to know that you want to know. Okay? It's really important that I share on these calls, and it's not just I'm going to share this because it's so great to me. I really want it to be for you. And I've prayed all this morning that this would come through with so much love and compassion and care for you. All right. Everyone's saying they're ready. So let's go. The first one, and if you're a client, I have some clients on this call, you've heard probably this before. So the first one is, write this down, because this is a truth that will be true forever. This isn't just an idea. Ready? You cannot outperform your current self-image. You can read all the books. You can go to the seminars. You can even put a structure in place. I had many business mentors over the years. The structure I have in place, there's a few things that are different, but the thing is, I see people in the same masterminds and coaching programs that I'm part of right now, that I've been part of for the last couple of years, and they aren't succeeding. So I know that this isn't just about the coach or the structure. It's about how I have changed how I see me. You cannot outperform your current self-image. You must put yourself on the budget. You don't have to earn your worthiness to spend money. You don't have to take care of the kids' braces before you can go and put yourself out there and join a program. You as an individual first. You were before marriage. You were before children. You are an individual. grow yourself. You must shift how you think about money and how money flows, where it comes from. This is that work of getting into your inner child, getting into, who am I? Am I freaking awesome? Am I totally worthy being of love and light? Of course I'm going to do that thing. Of course I'm going to go get that pedicure. Of course I'm going to go get that massage. Of course I'm going to invest in this program. Of course I'm going to experiment upon this thing I've just learned. There's nothing holding me back. That's my self-image now. Many years it was, I'll work on my business after the kids are in bed, instead of getting childcare. If it's really, this is what I'm doing. And I'm not saying you throw things to the wind, whatever. I'm just sharing with you that as I realized I have something to do, I have a thing to do, like, just really like, oh my gosh. And here's where, oh, beautiful question, Carla. Think about your child. This is the beautiful gift of mothers. Think about your child. And they say, you're watching them grow up. And they're like, never trying out for the show, even though they have an incredible talent. And this isn't just about being scared. This is about how they see themselves. You see them trying to, let you know that they have a fever. They're trying to tell you with all of this humility that they might need a mental health day from school. Tell me, as a beautiful mother, feminine being in this universe, are you going to be like, you don't deserve that? What? Get your butt out the door. I don't care if you're tired today. Like, no loving mother is going to do that, because they saw that child be born and they were a being of love and light. And you had this deep desire to uplift them and to support them and to see them grow and thrive. You're not going to tell them that they're not worth it. You're not going to tell them to put their needs last. Like, guys, this is the relationship that God has with us. This is important. This isn't about being selfish and having, like, this is about you accepting that you are just like your child with needs, wants, desires, all of these things. Mother yourself with your best mothering capabilities. And if you've got a lot of selfishness coming up, that's work. There's belief systems in there that are telling you that these kinds of ideas are selfish. And what's so important to realize about this, and if you want to learn about how you have to spend money to make money, changing these ideas, that this is what Jesus taught. He never said, oh, you put yourself first, that's selfish. Like, Jesus never taught that. That is a belief system from culture. Go do some digging. I suggest reading Matthew 25. Okay? Why this matters is because if you don't view yourself as someone that is capable of building a business, someone that's capable of whatever this desire is of yours that you're not meeting, being the mom that can go and spend $50 on herself, she just spent $50 on her kids' basketball shoes. My goodness, this is not selfish. This is putting yourself on the playing field. You get to spend money to make money. You get to expend for yourself to increase your set point for what you believe you're worthy of. This touches business. This touches parenting. This touches relationships. This touches your money management habits. This touches your food habits. Think about this. When I identified that money was hard and that your qualifications and work ethic was where money came from, I was capped, because it was like, well, I only have so many hours to give. I guess it's not the thing. Like, I can't do all these things these other people are doing. That only goes so far. I went to huge efforts to try to qualify myself, show up to all the things, do all the things. And it was like, you get burned out doing that. I will tell you, I did certifications. I did degrees, I did the internships, like all the things to qualify myself, when for many years that I had a hunch that I could create a business that was solving a problem that I had solved within myself. But I didn't see how it would work or succeed if I didn't have a bunch of qualifications for that specific thing. Oh, well, then I better go to school for that, or I better go, like that was my belief system saying I had to qualify to be able to share from my heart and make a difference. That held me back for a long time, like a long time, a long, long, long time. Anybody else? I also had body image issues. I really had beliefs that said that if I'm not my best, healthiest weight, who am I to tell anybody how to do anything? I had deep body issues, like body image worthiness issues that I had to work through. See how they touched? It was like I had to qualify with how I looked. I had to qualify with my certifications, like all of this qualifying. So I had beliefs that said, so I had a certain belief about me that didn't include money flow. Until I shifted how I saw myself, money was always going to be this hard thing I had to qualify for. Always. Until I changed. And what's interesting is until I shifted how I saw myself, how I allowed myself to just be, my health also didn't change. It's like I had this image of what I was. And until I really shifted my identity with who I am and what health looks like for me, I had this skewed sense of body image issues that kept me from doing that. Just like I had this skewed sense of how qualified you had to be that kept me from putting myself out there. It's these limiting beliefs that would come in, and I'd try this and I'd try that, but it was just like, a belief would come in that would take over, and then I would stop doing the thing. So until I saw myself, guys, this even in my relationship, until I shifted how I saw myself, intimacy in my marriage was kind of like different. That shifted when I started shifting how I saw myself. So you will never outperform. You can't outperform your current self-belief about yourself, what you're capable of, what you believe you are as a being, not what you do. Being. Learn to separate the two. So when you say, I'm a great mom, is that because you're checking the boxes of my kids are fed, or I'm a great mom? Who am I being as a mom? Those are the boxes you want to check. I snuggle with my kids. We laugh and do dance parties. Like, this is the mom that you are being. You seeing the difference there? It's very different. Start to become aware of whether you're checking the boxes for success, of whether you're being a successful person. It's different. I know. Just let it sit, let it integrate. Let this idea integrate. Because I will tell you, if you yo-yoed, you'll see that section in our income. Like, this was me yo-yoing with my self-image. I'll try that. No. I'll try that. No. Different things. I yo-yoed up and down on ideas and skills and whatever it was, but there was this inner self that was, I've shared with you what it was for me. Big piece of that was I had to qualify, I had to earn it, I had to, once I dismantled that, I was like, no, it just is. Then I was able to move forward. So that was number one. Number two, keeping your money boundaries and keeping, I'm going to word this right. Keeping your money boundaries, which is like a budget. Knowing your numbers, Know your numbers. People that say, well, I kind of know where our money goes. Nope, it's not going to cut it. You got to know your numbers. You need to know what money is coming in, and you need to know what money is going out. If that is a new concept to you, you go to your online banking institution, print out the last 90 days, use some different colors and be like, okay, this was food, this was bills, this was us just having fun, this was mindless, I don't know what this was. Really know your numbers, because you cannot change what you do not know. You can't change what you don't know. I can't point out something that you can't see. So you need to know your numbers. That's when I'm talking about money boundaries. Know your numbers. Do you know how much you spend on food and eating out? Do you know how much you're spending on health, on self-development? How much are you spending on the bills, the mortgage? Like really know your numbers. I cannot stress that like to the 10th degree. You need to know. You cannot change what you don't know, okay? So the other thing that I feel is tied to that is some people have morality labels on their budget. I'm going to explain what that means. So I've been budgeting forever. I am a budgeter. My mom taught me to budget. I've been budgeting since I was 16. So the budgeting piece wasn't something that was new, okay? It was my belief labels that I was putting into my budget. Just like, was it Carla that was like, well, if I put my massage on the budget, that's selfish. Okay, that's beautiful. What a beautiful example. Thank you for sharing. Because I was putting morality labels. When I say morality, I'm talking about right and wrong, good and bad, sin and not sin. Like people literally, and this might be you, if you're on this call looking to change your finances, don't judge your money. Like, because what's interesting is when you judge your money, you're judging yourself. Like, again, this kind of goes back to number one, right? That's why number one is number one. But don't judge your money situation and equate it with your value. Again, this touches your relationships. This touches food. This touches everything. Because if you're like, well, when we don't have very much money, we're bad. I mean, this is the most basic way to say it. We overspent. We're such bad people with our money. We're not disciplined. Do you see the self-beratement going on? Like if you don't have a lot of money, that means something about your worth. I'm letting that sit because I can feel the energy shifting within this group. And when you have more money, you have excess, you're good. You can be charitable. It's easier to be a disciple of Jesus Christ. Like these are very real things I've seen over coaching, and I have identified some of them in my own life. So a shift that I had to make was that my worth, my worthiness, my goodness has nothing to do with how much money is in my bank account. That belief was literally a dam blocking energy, money flow for me. It was a big one because I had such this energy about when my money was low and like all of this stuff. Be as steady as possible with your budget. If you set a budget and you say, okay, we make this much, this is what we're going to pay. Then say in the middle of the month, you get an inheritance or a job raise, a pay raise, and you get a new client. Do not go out and spend something different. Stick to your money boundaries, because if you get this influx of money and all of a sudden you go and you get rid of it, that is actually evidence of this belief system that you can't have this. There's something there. Take note. Take note on how you feel when you have excess and what you do with it. Let it sit there and stick to your budget. This is so powerful. This is such a big concept, a huge mindset, right? This is a mindset is what you see, how you're seeing something. So a shift is we don't have extra money. We don't even use that. It's, we had this influx. That's nice. let it sit there. Stick to your monthly budget. And I suggest doing monthly. Stick to a monthly budget. Stick to your money boundaries and don't judge your money. Okay? Don't put morality onto numbers. They're figures, they're numbers. Okay? It's interesting because I've seen the same thing with food. I did health coaching for a number of years. People would say, well, I was good. I ate salad. I was bad. I went to a birthday party and had cake. You see how it's the same? This goes back to number one. They see this about themselves, so they judge themselves on these things. It is so out there. Take note. Really think about this, especially over this next month. We're almost to March. Create a budget and experiment on this with yourself. Do I actually feel stressed, losing sleep, less of a person, unworthy when my money gets lower? See, that's why people, if they get a pay raise or something in the middle, they want to hurry and put it in because they don't want to see themselves zero out because they've made it mean something. I will tell you in all transparency, honesty, my family checking account right now has $193 in it. Okay, because we set a budget that says this is what we're spending. And I get things come up. That's why you have a savings account. Like, you know what I mean? But I'm like, no, I'm not just going to pull this money from wherever we have money to save us or make our budget different. Because to me, it's neutral. Like, of course, we're going to zero out because I am extremely disciplined with my numbers. And I said exactly how much we were going to do this thing. And that's how it is. Like, I always want to have a little cushion, right? That's probably the lowest it's been in a while. I like to usually end the month at like a $500 or $600 mark and have kind of this floating cushion all the time. That's our money situation. Yours could be drastically different. I don't know how your money flows. I'm just sharing that this idea of let my budget be my budget. Don't place judgment on my numbers. Let myself get to zero and let myself experiment being just as worthy at zero as I am with $10,000. Right? Like really, if that's hitting you like, oh, something's there. That's a mindset shift you will get to make before your money situation takes off. Okay? Number three, we're on the last one. Here we go. Write this down. Who's taking notes? Are you guys loving this? I was writing these notes and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like such a big deal. These are all things. So people that relate, I know that you're going to be just like, oh my gosh, this is good. Number 3, taking notes. Want perpetuates want. You guys remember in Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol, when he's at the end of the Ghost of Christmas Present, and he reveals these 2 children from his robe that are skinny, they're desperate, they are lowlifes, they're waifs, they look unclean. And he says, these are the issues with our society: ignorance and want. Guys, this was like, what, 250 years ago? When was that book written? Maybe 200 ago. Anyway, 150 years ago, maybe. Like, these are not new ideas. That's a Christian story. By the way, I have scriptures for section 2 if you want to write them down. Isaiah 43 and Matthew 10. I'm going to start integrating more of my religious study into these classes because I want to really press the point that this is not new information. Jesus Christ taught all of this like throughout the ages, okay? And I love that you guys are in this group because I can speak Christian things because you're here because you've said that these ideas match with some of your belief systems, okay? Want will Want will perpetuate want is the third one that you've got to understand, that you've got to really find where you're at. And when Dickens said that, he said ignorance and want. So we're solving the ignorance piece today. You now know. You can't say you don't know. You know. So we've solved the ignorance piece. Now let's solve the want. Words matter, my friends. Words matter and showcase your mindset. So when you say things like, I want my money situation to change, that's a big clue. When I hear people, I want to change. I want. You put that energy out there and it says, great, you want. You will always want. You say, I am doing this thing. It changes the game. You put it on your schedule. You start looking at your numbers. You start changing your self-image. Guess what? You don't want anymore. You are. Like, so good. Okay. Danielle says, what's the chapters? It was for number 2, Isaiah 43 and Matthew 10. And number 1 was really study the parable of the talents, understanding why we must spend money to earn money. Matthew 25. Thank you for asking. And this one goes right into Matthew 25 as well. Really, this idea of a lack of belief that there's always more. There's always more to be generated. There is limitless energy for you out in the world. Limitless amounts for you, your needs, your desires. No one, there's so much, you guys, like, no one deserves more than you. Nobody has the ability to have more than you just because you're you. Do you see how this ties back to 2 and 1? Well, they can do that. I'm just not like that. I have heard that so many times. I used to say that. Well, I can't have what they have. I'm not like that. Do you see how that goes back to your self-image? Of course, you'll never have that because you don't see yourself as being able to have that. You will never outperform your current self-image. And if you don't even know your numbers, you can't change them. And here we are saying, if you think you always want, then you will always want. Words matter. Think about a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset is that. It says, I can't have what that person has, like, because they're just different. A fixed mindset says, someone else deserves this more than me. You've put like this lockdown on yourself with that kind of mindset. That is a fixed mindset because you've fixed who you are and what you deserve. This is how this sounds, okay? When I say words matter, you say, we don't have money like that. I can't do that, can't afford that. We don't have room in our budget. I'll never be able to afford something like that. It's not in our cards. I don't have those options. I've exhausted all my options. I'm not like her. I wish we had more money. I want ... whatever. Like, really, there is limitless amounts for whatever is out there that you would like to have in your life. There's no limit. Whatever you view yourself as and what your capacity is what you have. And John C. Maxwell has written about 1 million books about changing your perception of how you lead yourself, because that changes how you can lead others. He's a leadership expert and was a Christian pastor for many years. Think of these judgments. This is also scarcity words. If you've said, oh, well, that kind of spending is so wasteful. What a sad way to spend their hard-earned money. These are judgments made in a scarcity fixed mindset. Our money is sacred. We have to spend it carefully. Oh, she shouldn't spend money on that. That money could be put to better use. Guys, if you're being like, oh, I like say these things, take note. Take note that you likely are functioning off of a scarcity fixed mindset, which literally is like putting yourself in a cage. You can see all the things, but you will not budge. Like Marcy said, like it depends on what you're willing to do. Of course. You decide which cage bars there is and how much room that you have. It is always your choice. God works 100% with the law of agency. He cannot give you more than you want or willing to have. He cannot make any of that happen for you. It has to be your choice. So there is another way to live, and that's busting out of this kind of a mindset. Money isn't hard. These are the things I've shifted, you guys. These are the top things that I have shifted. I have shifted how I see me. I've shifted how I understand money. I have shifted how disciplined I am about what I know about my numbers and how I feel about that. I have shifted to a growth mindset. I have destroyed the bars. There is no bars for me. I have a complete growth mindset when it comes to money. I allow it to flow in and I allow it to flow out freely. And the more I open that gate, the more it comes and the more it goes out. I was recently talking to someone in a mastermind that made like 14 million last year. Her expenses, the things that she put out there, and they're not just expenses like paying people, but like retreats that she put on and these different things. She spent 12 million, but she made 14. So here she is being revered as, oh, I made $14 million this year. It was so great. But she, you know what I mean? It wasn't like she just has $14 million sitting in her account. She lets it flow. And I also had another mentor that made $40 million. And he said the same thing. It was like, yeah, but of that 40 million, there was like 30 million that went to this, foundation and all these other places that he has his flow of where he is making a difference. So money isn't hard, but honestly, I can't point out something that you can't see. So I'm not sure where your mindset is at the point of watching this call, but I do know that these 3 mindset shifts are real and that they are what has happened the last 3 years that has made our money shift so much, like so much. And I can tell you that inside the Elevated Mother experience, if you're willing to be completely open, if you're willing to come to the calls, if you're willing to get real with your numbers, then you will start to do number 1. That's what the Elevated Mother Experience program is designed to do. It helps us find out who we are and what we do, and changing your perception of yourself changes what you're capable of. Okay? It will uncover what you can't see within you right now. You'll come away with so much more awareness of who you are. You'll find what your patterns have been, how to safely shift them, so you can see where money has been dammed up, and we can start letting it flow. If you're ready for this, like if you're ready to elevate to that level of consciousness, type elevate in the comments and I'll reach out and we will have a chat. I won't pitch anything to you because I'm positive that this is the right thing. It's going to just flow. It really, really will. If this is the right time for you, the resources will show up. You will believe the resources will be there. Like it will just, I don't have to like pitch and sell myself on this. If this is what you want, this is what you want. Believe it. Type elevate in the comments if you're ready to have a chat about seriously changing this. It's incredible. It's incredible. How long are you willing to let something go on in this pattern? Think about that. How long am I going to tolerate this kind of idea and living if money isn't already flowing for you? But I'm guessing it's not if you're in this class. And that's fine. I don't place judgment on that. Guys, I was there for many years. It was fine. I changed when it was time for me to change, when I was ready. But I have documented it like it is in the workbook. Like this isn't Like I've said, you can read all the books. It's just whether or not it's time to change. That's all I have for you guys today. Love your comments. Loved your notes. Marcy's like, I hate money. Like, I get it. I get it. I love money. I love the choices that it brings to me. I love what I can do when I have free money flowing. I love that. And I believe that Jesus Christ was trying to tell us that, like, this is just part of the energy of this world. It's up to you how it works. It's 100% up to you. He's given us all the direction. So have an awesome weekend. This is a great class. I love you guys. Share this class if you have your husband watch it, whenever. Just be like, whoa, what does this even mean to me? You're welcome. You guys are so good. Signing off. See you guys next week.